Okay, we're ready again. We'll continue. I guess I've been saying this morning, it's this afternoon now, with the Southside Panthers. New head coach Gary Nelson is with us today. And Coach, if you don't mind, introduce the two young men you brought with you and make some comments on the 2020 Panthers for us.
Yes, sir. First of all, thank you all for having us. Really appreciate all of the various outlets that are here. You know, as I transitioned to this area, I was really blown away by the coverage that our players receive, and really appreciative of the way you guys honor them and honor the work they do. Not everybody in Alabama has a local media the way we do here, so thank all of you for inviting us here, and thank you for what we do. To my right is Garrett Orr. Garrett is a senior for us. He is an offensive guard and a defensive tackle for us. Garrett is actually a third year, really 3.5 year returning starter. He ended up starting, I believe, halfway through his 9th grade year, and has been with us ever since. He's played in a lot of big football games. Really a guy that's a tremendous leader. Is really somebody that everybody in our program looks to and as an example. And then to my left is senior quarterback Michael Rich. Michael is also entering his 3rd year as a starter. Michael is an incredibly talented player, a guy that can make all the throws, and is really somebody who has emerged since I've been here as a leader and someone that I can really look to, you know, as somebody who's going to do things the right way. And really provide an energy level for our team that's been important to me. As I came in and got started, you know, I was a little nervous about how our players would transition to my coaching style and how they would receive the things that we're asking them to do. Michael's really been a focal point in making sure that our kids are practicing fast and playing the way that we want them to. So really excited to have these guys with me. And I actually shared with them yesterday. I just feel really honored to get to be their coach. So definitely glad to have them here. The second part of that question was to provide an outlook for our season and how things look. You know, we're obviously transitioning from 5A to 6A in a very competitive 6A Region 7, which is, you know, there are a lot of good football teams. We kind of have one of those schedules this year where there are no weeks off. You've got to be prepared to be the best possible version of yourself every single week if you're going to have a chance to have a successful season. So for our end, you know, we're trying to make it about playing to our standard and attempting to prepare ourselves to be the best version of ourselves that we can be every single week. And we feel like if we do that, the wins and losses piece will take care of itself. So really, as I come in new, we're working to establish a culture and to set a standard that we can then play to every single week, not just this year, but in the years ahead.
All right, questions, guys?
Coach, you talked after you assumed the position a little while ago about you said that you called it the Panther way. There's a right way, there's a wrong way, and then there's a Panther way. And that's going to be the foundation of your program. How is that working along with the players, with the coaches, and the community so far?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, that. Sure. I think that I would say to this point, there's been incredible buy-in. I think that we have a community that's very hungry to turn our program around and be a bit more consistent. And not just on the field. I think that they're looking for, you know, for a program that operates at a high level in a variety of ways, and in all the ways that we think of successful programs in this state. And so I think our community buy-in is certainly there. And for our players, you know, I've been so impressed with them. You know, and really, I mean, a credit to the last coach, to Coach Doherty, and the remaining coaches who have stayed with us. That you know, from the outside looking in, you know, I thought that this was going to be a total rebuild. And then when I got here, you know, it was obvious to me that we had a lot of players who were used to being coached and who were used to working hard and doing things the right way. I think they had some things happen to them last year that were unfortunate. So in terms of interacting with the players, it's actually been a little easier to get that buy-in than I even thought it would be. And just a small example of that is yesterday I introduced to them all of the guys who are in what we call Iron Panthers, which is our players who made 90% or more of their workouts this summer, and we're right at 60 that made 90% or more, which is an incredible number, and we're actually, if you were to set that bar at say 85%, we'd get up close to the mid 70s with guys who've been here every day. So there's just been tremendous buy-in, a lot of guys who are hungry. What they're having to figure out is that that standard of excellence, the way they're going to be coached, that they've got to be prepared to do that every single day. And I think that's been the biggest transition for them. We've had a few days where we've had to kind of regroup and say, guys, that's not the standard. And if this is what you want to be, if this is the effort that you want to play with right now, that's not going to work. That's not who we're going to be. What I appreciate about this group is that, even in their body language, even the way that they receive coaching, I think they're really hungry to be held to that standard. When we talk about what the Panther way, that success is a byproduct of doing things the right way. Doing things the right way is a choice. If my name's attached to it, it's going to be done right. And they're really beginning to understand that. So I'm fired up for them.
Coach, I know coming in as a new coach, talk about the returning players that maybe started for you last year. You may have them in different positions. How many experienced players will be on the team this year in maybe different positions, but will be experienced? Yeah,
I think if you start with our offense, we will probably step out onto the field with 10 or 11 guys who started games at some point last year. Now, the good news about that is their experience. The bad news about that is sometimes they were in those positions because they got thrown in the fire due to an injury or something of that nature. That is helping us this year, I think. So we've got, looking at 5 kids up front who started games at some point or another, and another, 2 or 3 who rolled in at one time or another. So I think we can play, 7 or 8 offensive linemen who all have some starting experience, and then there are a few young kids that can help us as well. At our tight end position, we're returning a multi-year starter in Hayden Robertson, and then we've got a few kids behind him who played some last year. Our 2 leading receivers from a year ago are back. Our running back is another situation where they were running back by committee, but by the end of the year, Cornell Davis had kind of emerged as the guy. And he's back for us as well. Obviously, you got Michael back behind center. So really experienced group offensively. As far as transitioning positions, it's as much about how we line up that's a little bit different. Trying to get Alden and Cody, our 2 returning receivers, Alden Battles and Cody Roberts, trying to get them in some formations that are advantageous where we can get them on the same side of the field some. Last year they were split field most of the time. We try to put them together a little bit. And then using some defensive players over on offense to provide some depth for us situationally. And, we think we probably found somebody that can make some plays for us in Hayden Frye. He's been an anchor of our defense for several years. Having him over on offense now is going to be a big benefit to us. And at the running back position, using some guys like Eli Martin, who was a starting inside linebacker, now to be able to come over and provide some depth at the running back position. So it's really sort of trying to take a programmatic view and finding ways for different players to help us in spot situations so that, we've, number one, created more depth, and then number 2, that we're able to have guys doing a lot of different things that fit their skill set. So, offensively, definitely leaning on the experience and also working to put some guys in advantageous situations. And then you flip it over to defense, and I think we got 10 or 11 defensive linemen that can play right now. We've got a bunch of kids who've played a lot of football and who have some ability that it's going to be a question of how we can create a rotation that keeps them fresh. Obviously we got Garrett who plays offense for us, but he'll flip around and play some defense situationally too. Same with Will Warwick, who's another senior for us and 3-year starter. So multiple kids who can do that for us. The linebacker position we really feel like is a strength. We return Maddox Parsons and Eli Martin there. I mentioned Hayden Frye earlier. Spencer Sharp is a kid that's played a lot of football for us. So a lot of experience there. I think Spencer's actually transitioning from safety, so that's one that, we've moved around a little bit. And then in the secondary, I think we kind of got a secondary by committee approach. We got a lot of kids who can play. We're actually right now in the process of developing that depth chart. We got a lot of kids who look pretty good in helmets, who's going to come up and tackle and that sort of thing. So we'll know a little bit more about those defensive backs and linebackers next week. But, overall, just we have more players who I think are capable of playing than I realized when I first got here. So that's a good problem to have.
This is for both the players. Coach mentioned the buy-in in the offseason. What's that look like inside the locker room? Take us inside the weight room about what that looks like and just been buying into the new coach, new coacher, and everything.
This year, I've been here for 4 years, and I've never seen anything like what our team's doing right now. Everybody's responding better than I've ever seen it since I've been up here, and everybody's working harder in the weight room than I've ever seen. So I'm sure they're definitely all buying into it more than they ever have.
Yeah, so I'll kind of backpack on that. Yeah, it's in the weight room and on the field, we're always moving around, flying around. And so on that part, I think that's the biggest difference is, everybody's always amped up and ready to go. And so that's what you have to be, especially right now, early in the mornings when you don't want to wake up and go. We're still there and we're ready to fight every single day. So, yes, sir.
Just when I came out to summer practice, I got a small sample size, but Coach really seems to be a big energy guy. Just how much do y'all kind of feed off that? Is it a contagious energy? I mean, how do y'all feed off that?
Absolutely.
Yes, for sure.
For sure.
And I should say, too, in response to that, we've got some coaches, some assistant coaches who bring a tremendous amount of energy, too, and that holds me accountable. I think that for all of us, I challenge our coaches when I first took the job. I said, guys, I can't do this by myself. And I've been so impressed with the energy that they bring every day. We're incredibly fortunate to have Robbie Davis, Ray Cargill, some just energetic coaches that really bring it every day. And, in fact, today there was kind of a point in practice where I started to drag a little bit, and I looked over at Coach Davis and he was fired up, and that kind of helped me get through it. And, it's incredible that attitudes are infectious, and I think that we talk about that a lot in reference to our kids, but I think in regards to the adults in the room as well, and so I just think that our coaching staff really can provide a shot in the arm for each other. We benefit from a great mix of young, enthusiastic coaches, and then some more seasoned guys who've been around, and Jake Nichols and Charles Nails and guys like that who just have a wealth of experience at our school. They're kind of teaching me, the culture and the history and the traditions of Southside, and then I'm infusing some of my own things. And so it's really been a neat mix for me, and I just feel really fortunate to get to work with them too. And what the kids said about their buy-in, I think is absolutely true. You can feel it, when you're on our field or in our locker room. You can feel the energy that they're playing with. So we're awfully proud of them.
Garrett, I saw you laugh whenever he mentioned Coach Davis. Just what is it that it does to you guys specifically that whenever you see them, just with that big energy?
Well, personally today, I'm constantly shoulder bumping with him and jumping around with him all the time before practice, so that's why I was laughing when he mentioned his name. Just the day before we started our inside period, I think we gave a huge shoulder bump right in the middle of the field. So that's why I was laughing when he mentioned him.
Guys, before it's over, your time's over, talk about the excitement for you two seniors to be able to play. I mean, just a couple of weeks ago, we didn't know if we were going to have a season, but now looks like we're going to have a season. We're going forward with it. Talk about your excitement to do that. What it means to you.
Yeah, it means a lot to me. Obviously, it's our senior year, so we didn't want to give that away. It was kind of scary, going into the summer and worked as hard as we did, and to know we might not have a season, but when it did come out, it was very exciting news, and just, we got to practice and we were all ready to go, and so we're ready for week 1. Absolutely.
Well, we were all worried about, what was going to happen with the season, but me specifically, we were all working so hard all over the summer, and I don't know what I would have done without this season this year. And when they announced it, I was jumping for joy pretty much.
Anybody else?
Yeah, last question for the guys. First of all, congratulations on the scholarship offers you guys have. And I know you guys I find it exciting that your teammates seem more excited about you guys' scholarship offer. You're not me kids, you're we kids. I just want to bring that up, and congratulations. And just talk about how important it is to get your teammates behind.
Oh, absolutely. That's, one of the biggest parts for me. Like, he was saying with the coaches when he was a little down and then Coach Davis was up. And it's just, the energy that they bring to me is awesome. I actually have a couple buddies, on the basketball team is Chris Lingle. He's starting to get his, what he's been wanting for years, and he's working his tail off. And so to see all this that we've been working so hard for, kind of paying off a little bit, you still got to keep fighting every day. You got to still never be satisfied. And that's the thing with, I'm blessed with a friend group and teammates that we're never satisfied. And so, that's one of the biggest keys to me and for Southside and for Coach Nelson and everybody, all the coaching staff. Everybody's so positive. So, yes, sir.
I was going to start by saying not everybody gets the blessing that is getting to play football after high school. And I've been so blessed to get the opportunity to do that, and the support that I've seen from my teammates for just to get an opportunity to play is enormous. It's great.
Chris got one more question.
Coach, I know you're one game at a time guy, but just touch on looking at the region schedule. Of course, you have the defending state champion in Oxford, and it just doesn't drop off much from there with Springville, Fort Payne, Redfield City, Scottsville.
Yeah, it's daunting. It's definitely a challenge, but I think that as a competitor, you want to play people who push you to be the best version of yourself, and that's what we're going to work on. And so we're going to focus on being one rep better every single day. We're faithless opponents and broken scoreboards. That's kind of the way that we look at it. And so it's about today, what do I need to do to be better, and what do I need to do to stay on my job? And that's all we can focus on, and frankly, in this season, with the way things could play out and how things are going to happen, every team better be focused on themselves, because that's really where I think it's ultimately going to land, as far as you may need to have some kids play who you didn't think were going to have to play, or whatever the case may be. So every day I think you got to find ways to get better, and that's what we're going to do. And obviously, certainly a challenge to play those people, but we're competitors, and we want to play good people.
Thanks, Coach. Thanks, guys. Good luck to the Panthers this year. We appreciate you being with us today.
Thank y'all for having us out.